Konnichiwa minasan. Otaku Oyaji da. O genki desu ka? Good afternoon, everyone. This is Otaku Oyaji. How are all of you doing? I hope you're keeping fine during this time. Well, as my name suggests, I'm a geek for Japan culture and especially Japanese toys. And one of my particular interests is on Japanese trains, engage to be precise. Now, today I want to share with you how you can put your own custom LED lighting into engaged trains, interior lighting that is. Now, of course, there are many approved ways of doing that. The most natural, of course, is to buy the maker's lights, something like this. However, the pricing for these items can be rather prohibitive. For example, this particular item, plus shipping, will come to almost 4,000 plus 4,000 plus yen, which translates into roughly 51 Singapore dollars. Okay, and since there's only 6 units here, which means to light up each train, it's going to cost around $8.50 to $9. However, using custom LEDs, you can actually cut that cost to a fraction of the price, and I'm going to show you how. Alright, now we will go on to the tools and parts necessary to make interior lights for engaged trains. Okay, now what I have down here is particularly for the Kato brand of trains. I'll do a separate video for Tomix, Micro Ace and Green Max because the parts are slightly different. Okay, but essentially what you will need is basically a soldering iron, modeling tools, ruler. I like to use a metal ruler, scissors. In this case, this is actually from Ikea, and I'll explain to you why this pair of scissors is so helpful to me afterwards. Okay, you're gonna need your LED strip lights. All right, now basically you should get both warm light or what they call warm white and cool white. All right, because for Japanese trains, they have got green cars and normal cars. Green cars are basically like your first class carriages, and so their lighting is usually warm white lighting, while the passenger cars are, well, standard, so they are using the cool white lighting. All right, so what I have down here is basically cool white. Okay, you're going to need copper strips. Basically, I just got a copper sheet. I cut this down. The measurements are 10 cm in length and roughly 2.5 to 3 mm in width, but I'll trim it down further later on. Okay, now you're going to need a bridge rectifier. I'm going to zoom in. All right, okay. Yeah, hope you guys can see that now. This is a bridge rectifier, DF04044A. Okay, now this is absolutely necessary because it converts AC to DC. Otherwise, your lights will only light up when you're traveling in one direction. All right, so you need this for the lights to be on whichever direction you're traveling in. All right, okay. Then down here is basically optional. Okay, I don't know if you can see it. It's basically a capacitor. All right, so this thing works as like a spare energy storage. It should help a little bit in ensuring your lights don't flicker so much when you're driving along the tracks because there's a bit of stored energy inside there. But the difference is pretty minimal, so it's optional whether you want to get a capacitor or not. All right, okay. So now let's start with this. All right, so basically how Kato connects its interior lights to the bogie connection points where electricity is drawn is through these copper strips. All right, I don't know if it's noticeable, but basically whoops, all right, sorry, using Apple iPhone, that's the best I've got right now. Okay, but there's actually a bend somewhere down here, followed by an almost 90-degree bend at the end. So that's what we can replicate with the copper strip I have over here, right? I made my measurements, or rather I took my measurements of it, okay? The front part is roughly 1.5 cm long, while the middle part is 1.7 cm long, and that's all we need to know. All right, so taking this strip I have down here, whoops, okay, what I do is first I fold it in half. Okay, so basically it's 5 cm each now. Then I cut it. All right. Now, I did say that this is supposed to be roughly 2.5 mm to 2 mm, correct? Well, the best, even, you know, I use a paper cutter to do it, but at best it's slightly thicker than that. So this is where the Ikea scissors come in. Because literally, the thickness of the scissors down here is almost 2.5 mm. So what I do is this, I hold it like this, I slip the scissors underneath so that the edge is aligned with the blade, and I cut. Ta-da! I have the thickness I want. Okay. Of course, if you're going to be very particular and measure it, I'm sure that, you know, it's not there, but it's good enough for the train. Okay. So likewise for the other side, I do the same. So once again, align the edges and cut. Okay, now next we bend. All right, so try to straighten it out a little bit. Take your ruler. Remember the first one is 1.5. So, oops, can you see? Okay, yes. Okay, that's 1.5. Well, anyway, you have to take my word for it. Okay. So what I do is at 1.5, I bend in a bit. Right. Then after that, I measure 1.7. Okay, and I make an almost 90-degree bend. So this is the end result. All right, granted, this is very far from the original, okay? But trust me, it will work out in the end. All right, so let's move. I'm not going to bore you by showing you a duplicate of the second one. Let's move on to the next stage. Okay, so the train that we are going to do the lighting for is actually the Aoimori Railway 701 series. All right, I'm a sucker for character wrapping, so this time it's a character of a Christmas tree. Yep, here we go. All right, so what do we do? First, we open this train up. Okay, how do you do that? Well, there are usually several leverage spots, so you just have to carefully wiggle your way out, or rather wiggle the undercarriage out. Okay, pull back, and that's it. All right, so we'll set this apart first. Next, we make sure that the LED strip, we cut into a 6-unit strip. There's actually 2 individual strips joined together. That should be long enough for this train. Let's have a quick look. Yes, it is. All right. Now, remember I mentioned just now about the copper wires we band together? Now, this is where we're going to do it. Okay, so this is the 1.5 cm end. What I do is I slot it inside here. That's where the actual part goes. So, there and there. Whoops. Right. I'm going to leave it sticking out a little bit. All right, you'll see why later on. Okay. Now, next, the bridge rectifier, what do I do? Okay, first, I identify the part with the positive and negative signs, and I bend them out. All right. Okay, what I would like to do normally is I'll just use my tweezers and I'll just flatten them. Like so. All right. Then for the other pair of legs, I spread them. Okay. Don't go excessive when you're spreading, when you're manipulating these legs. Otherwise, the metal fatigue will set in and they will break. Okay. So what I do now next is I check my LED strip for positive and negative, so I can see the negative. Whoops, sorry. Okay. I can see that the negative is on top and positive is at the bottom. I need to align them. So in this case, positive is top, negative bottom, so I rotate them. All right. Okay, now next, what I do is I secure them with just, well, any tape. But in this case, I'm using Tamiya tape. Whoops. Zoom out. Sorry about that. Okay. Then I just do a rough measurement of that, and I'm ready to go. Okay, so let me just angle in better. Hopefully, I can give you guys a better view of what I'm actually going to do. Okay, soldering time. So what I do is I put in a bit of solder to one of the connection points. All right. Then, kids, if you're doing this, please make sure you have an adult to help you solder. Please don't do this on your own. Okay. So when one leg is secured, I can apply solder to the other one. Like so. And just to ensure that it's properly secured, I press it down again with my trusty old Tamiya tweezer. And I check for connections. Right. And that's it. We're done for soldering the bridge rectifier. Now we're gonna do we're gonna do the capacitor. Same deal. So I'll solder one end. All right. Then this time using tweezers. Okay, I tell you what, I'm having difficulty, so let's do this off screen first. All right, we're back. All right, so now with the capacitor soldered in also, this is how the strip will look like. Okay, now one component I forgot to mention just now is actually you're gonna need a thin piece of plastic. All right, this will help hold the light up. Okay, what I do is I just take a laminating what do you call it? Laminating pocket, that's right. I laminate it and I cut it into the required length. Okay, so what I do now, this LED strips is usually it has double-sided tape on it. So what I do is I stick it onto this plastic strip. I align it. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me zoom out. Okay, so I just simply align it in the middle. and I stick it on. Then I make sure to bend upwards a little bit. Yeah, pretty much so. That's pretty much so. Okay. Now next, I will check, okay, the length. Is that good enough coverage? Yes, it is. I don't need to cut away anything. So I'm gonna start soldering the legs to this part right now. Okay. I custom made this to help me align things a bit better. Okay. So now I'll put the light strip on top and do a final check. Okay, it looks like the right leg needs a little bit more bending. All right, everything looks good in the test fit. So now I'm going to solder it. Yes, I know I'm not the best at soldering, but I get by. All right, so that's one side. And now for the other. All right, and that's it for the soldering. We're done with soldering. Okay, so what I do now is I cut away the excess. So, well, let's zoom out. Yes, okay. So I cut away the excess here. And here. Right. And I'll fit the whole thing back into the train body. So okay, there we have it. And now we'll go to the lighting part. Okay, moment of truth. Let's see if the lights work. All right. Yatta! Okay, this is going in forward direction. And this is going in reverse. Okay, you can, I'm telling the truth through the front lights. These are the tail lights. You see the red in front. And these are the front lights. The lights on top. So, yeah, that's it. A simple solution. And effectively, that entire thing probably costs, well, I guess around less than $2 to make. Yeah, one entire 10-meter LED strip is only $5. The bridge rectifier is roughly 50 to 60 cents, and the capacitors are roughly 10 to 20 cents each. So if you add them all up together, it's probably less than $2, or you might be even $1. All right. So I hope that you've found this useful, and if you think that it is, please subscribe and leave a like. I'll greatly appreciate it. I'm just starting out, so yeah, any support is greatly welcome. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Stay blessed. Stay safe. Until the next time, mata ne.